You're listening to the True North Success Podcast. Real stories of personal, professional, and financial wins from Alberta's best. With your hosts, Gary Ma and Amy Kim.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today my special guest is Dr. Joelle Johnson. She is a highly respected chiropractor and the founder of Family First Chiropractic and Wellness in Red Deer, Alberta. With over 25 years of experience, she specializes in pediatric and prenatal care, holding a diplomate from the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association. Dr. Johnson is uniquely certified in the Bagnall system, helping pregnant women find relief from discomfort through natural techniques. Beyond her practice, she is a dedicated community volunteer serving with the Red Deer Ski Patrol and supporting midwifery services. It is my pleasure to have Dr. Joelle Johnson on the show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I'm excited, a little bit nervous to be here, but really excited. There's been some big names come through here, and I'm really feeling honored to be able to chat with you today.
Awesome. So, Dr. Johnson, I gave a quick overview of your success, but can you fill in the details of what you do, who you serve, and how long you've been doing this for?
Well, I've been practicing for over 27 years. It's weird because I'm only 28, so I don't know how that happened. Yeah, that's my dad joke. Anyhow, I've been practicing in Central Alberta since I graduated. I went to Red Deer College, and then I actually went to University of Regina and got 2 Bachelor of Science degrees. Then I headed to Minneapolis, did my Doctor of Chiropractic. After that, I noticed there was a big hole in my training, especially when it came to the prenatal, postnatal, and pediatric care. So I delved in and did a fellowship with the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association, as well as the Webster Technique. And I did, so that kind of led my practice. So a lot of my practice is moms, babies, kids. I do see some general population, but the majority is pregnancy, mothers, and families, right? Hence why we called the clinic Family First. Yeah.
Okay. So what led you to become a chiropractor?
Oh, well, honestly, what happened is I had a very serious accident when I was 19.
Okay.
And I broke my femur and my pelvis. And hence why I volunteered with the Ski Patrol for so many years. They did save my life on the hill. And so I actually was in intensive care for 6 weeks. And then I was in the hospital for another 3 months. I had to actually learn how to walk again. I was in a wheelchair for a while, and then I had crutches, and then I had a nice little walking cane. So that, I think, led me because I'd gone through the emergency and then through the healthcare system. And then, of course, rehabilitation, great physios. I call them my physio terrorist at the time, but they were wonderful. So a lot of rehabilitation, but still couldn't get to some of the root of my instability. So I managed to be able to, while I was in Regina, see a chiropractor and honestly changed my life. So I was in pre-med at the time. And I actually just on a whim applied to chiropractic school, and I was accepted right away. So it's kind of like God led me to that path, to be honest. Like sometimes big things happen in your life that steer you in a direction you're not knowing you're going to be in, right? So yeah.
Well, that's a very interesting story. Like
it is
having gone through it, and then having a chiropractor help you to relearn and get your body healthy again.
Yeah. And as I said, and honestly, chiropractic has saved my life. It's been a way for me to heal, because it is more of a natural healing, right? When we're working on the body and the nervous system, right? So yeah.
What kind of sets you apart from the competition? Like what comes easy to you that others, maybe find challenging?
Well, I'm really good at masking. Just kidding. So I think one of the biggest things, because I've been through adversity and I've been through deep pain and I've been through trauma and I've been through rehabilitation, I can understand, I think, and empathize, I think, a lot more.
Yeah.
I'm also a mother of 3. I have 3 boys. So I always make jokes on my social about raising boys. So I understand some of the challenges of motherhood and also working and being a mom. So I think I connect hopefully more with mothers and families at more of a grassroots level.
Right, right. So are like I'm not familiar with the number of issues that maybe prenatal or mothers kind of
Yeah.
go through? Like, is
Yeah.
that quite common?
Yeah, so a lot of women will have, quite a bit of low back pain because of biomechanical changes. Sometimes we'll have sciatica, sometimes numbness, tingling, carpal tunnel of pregnancy, neck discomfort, postural changes, as well as sometimes when we're pregnant, it's almost like a pressure test to the system. So
Hmm.
sometimes those little underlying things that you may have brewing kind of come up. Could be, an SI joint, or it could be a previous injury or fracture, could be also high blood pressure or gestational diabetes, right? So
Hmm.
there's so many different things that can happen during pregnancy. And so if I can help to alleviate that so moms are more comfortable, they can also function better in society. A lot of moms will say, I can work until 36, 37 weeks. I'm more comfortable. Moms also will say that, they have less pain generators, better sleeps, just better overall life and daily living. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That I mean that's fantastic that you can focus on such a unique group of
Yeah.
individuals,
Yeah.
and it's such a I mean relatively short period of time
Yeah.
where pregnancy is up to 9 months or so. So.
Yeah, and it is a short period, but if we have that good pregnancy and then an optimal birth,
Hmm.
then we're going to have better bonding with our babies, which
Hmm.
will make us have a stronger relationship with our spouses and then
Hmm.
also ultimately community. And I really think it's important at, as I say, a grassroots level. I'm helping to support hopefully fostering community. So, we do a lot. I do a lot in the clinic and a lot outside, volunteering. I do classes. I try to do a lot of community events to build that community because, COVID was really difficult on that demographic. And you
Mm,
see,
for
now
sure.
the COVID kids going
Yeah.
in kindergarten, grade one. Um, so though a lot of those women lost community. So, trying to build that back up and get connections again, I think it's really important. And
Yeah.
then the other layer too is helping moms kind of make this when we're adjusting, we're helping this pelvis open, right? So baby can freely move into what we call the optimal position. So then baby
Mhm.
can really have a more comfortable pregnancy as well as mom have a more comfortable pregnancy and hopefully an easier birth.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Through your I guess practice and career, what kind of tips or suggestions would you give someone who wants to be more successful?
Be authentic.
Okay.
I think being authentic. And it's funny, I pulled a few cards from Louise Hay's stuff this morning just to kind
Okay.
of look at. And one that popped up is success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it.
Hmm.
So I thought that was really interesting because I really think being authentic, being true to yourself, and then I'm really passionate about what I do and I
Hmm.
love what I do. And so I think it's really important to the more you know, the more you don't know, and to always be learning, whether
Right.
it's on different levels in your profession or different areas. I think that is really important. And I don't think I think so many people get burnout because they lose passion.
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, tell me a little bit more about being authentic because I'm not sure if people really understand that.
Yeah, I think I try to practice what I preach.
Yeah.
So, I get adjusted, I go for other care. I try to eat healthy. I do make a joke that, we do have suckers in the clinic for kids after their adjustments, and I know that's high sugar and I shouldn't probably be doing that. Um, but I think being authentic is being true to yourself
Yeah.
and what resonates with you and what kind of fills your cup and gives your light, right?
Mhm.
And I always try to say, even if what I am recommending doesn't resonate, that moms have to trust and parents or anybody has to trust your intuition and your gut. And I don't think enough people trust their intuition.
Mm.
Um, and I think that's part of being authentic.
Right, right, right. I mean that's very, very interesting. Like what's one of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome in your career, and how were you able to turn that into a positive?
So one of my challenges was my accident. That's a
Okay.
big one. I think that's really
Yeah.
guided. But the other is being a female in my profession, starting out when I did. So it was in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Hmm.
When I went to chiro school, in my class of 50, there were six females. When I came to Red Deer, out of all the chiropractors, I think there was 35, 38 at the time, and there was only three practicing females. So
Wow.
there wasn't a
Yeah.
lot of mentors and a lot for female chiros in my profession in Central Alberta. Now, what's wonderful is it's up to 50% in schools, so we're seeing a lot more balance there, which
Mm.
is
Hmm.
great. But on the flip side, being, a female going to school, high school, I remember one of my teachers saying to me, "Girls shouldn't be in physics."
Oh, wow.
Right.
Really?
So I've had some of those adversities. And then even in practice, when I opened the clinic like 17 years ago, looking for a small business loan, I went into a
Mhm.
bank and I'd already practiced for 10 years, had an income, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. And they wanted my husband to co-sign.
Oh,
So
okay.
I went to another bank, right? And
Yeah.
now, I work really well with that bank and they use me as a success story. So sometimes, even though we think we're moving forward, sometimes there's been some of that imbalance that is a little difficult. And now it's less, but some of the younger generation, I think, don't understand. Some of us have paved the way, kind of pushed back a little bit, you
Yeah.
know, and now they're allowed to have a little bit more, I'm going to say, equity. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like did you have like did I mean with those challenges, right?
Hmm.
Being a minority and things like that. Like did you have a goal type of thing in mind, or what kept you going type of thing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I look at that and that's something, working even internally on myself. What does keep you going? Some people um can give up and some
Mm-hmm.
people can keep going. So what is that? And sometimes I think it's an innate because even when I was in the hospital in intensive care, I did have a night where I did flatline and they did bring me back. So
Oh,
obviously I'm meant to be here for a reason. And I think sometimes that resilience that sometimes you have deep, deep down and
mm-hmm.
that we don't trust. So honestly, being in the hospital on that ventilator, in a drug-induced coma while I'm my body's healing, um, really sets you into no one can do this but me. And I'm the one
Right.
who's going to have to pull through that. So
Yeah.
I think that, as I said, was one of the hardest things, but also one of the biggest things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, I paid for school by myself. I worked
Mm-hmm.
five jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty poor when you're in school and even afterwards to pay off those student loans. So, I worked hard and I sacrificed and, as I said, I worked five different jobs. So just to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean that the drive sounds incredible. The energy to get things done, to get to where you are. I mean that's really the story behind this.
Well, and one thing I do is I break things down, though, right? So I
Yeah.
don't just think, hey, I'm going to do this. I kind of
Okay.
break it down into small bite-sized chunks. And then I kind of set goals for myself. So I will set a weekly goal, monthly
Okay.
goal,
Yeah.
quarterly goal, and I actually write it down and it's right next to where I do my hair and makeup in the morning. I also
Okay.
have a vision board
Yeah.
that I kind of stick stuff on and that when I'm seeing that kind of resonates. And I have things that I want to do personally, not just
Yeah.
professionally
Yeah.
as well. So I think, having those goals keep me a little bit driven. I don't want to let myself down.
Right, right, right. Yeah, I mean those are fantastic tips and suggestions for anybody who wants to be more and do more type of thing.
Yeah.
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 It sounds like things are going really well for you and your business. As a busy healthcare professional, a lot of time is spent, running the active business. when looking towards the future, many don't want to have to be working so hard for that income. So some look at different ways of creating income from maybe from stocks, bonds, crypto, or using a financial planner.
Hmm.
What are your
Yeah.
thoughts about ways of creating income outside of your active business?
Well, I think there's a lot of opportunity. It's just you kind of got to hone your skills and your mindset. I'm very blessed. I married an accountant,
Hmm.
so I was very lucky there. So he runs a lot of our financials and then also does a lot of our investing as well. And same with my son is in school right now. So I think it's really important to plan for the future for sure.
Yeah.
Because being broke a lot when I was younger, right? So sometimes you have that. Oh, that's a little scary to think about the future. A
Yeah.
lot of my colleagues are, they've written a lot of books and that's kind of on my radar as well as done, online courses. A lot of people start to teach and I have actually been asked for a few times to teach and
Yeah.
speak. So, people do delve into that. I'm actually speaking at the Transforming Practices conference for the Central Alberta Advocacy Center as a keynote
Okay.
and at the end of May. So that's a great kind of a great group, and I'm talking about trauma in the body and how our body can hold things, right, in different
Okay.
ways, from a more of a musculoskeletal and primitive reflex standpoint. So, I think there's a lot of different things, of course, like in the clinic, we have other therapists. We have, I've got a partner and then we've got associates, and then we also do vitamins and supplements, and then I do private classes as well. But a lot of it is on me and
Yeah.
having that investment is a lot makes me feel a little bit more comfortable as the
Right.
future, right? That it's not all on me. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So having some sort of plan in place,
Yeah.
some sort of other investing type vehicles that
Yeah.
rather than just relying on, you know,
Yeah.
what yourself type of thing.
Yeah, yeah, and my husband's been really good about that. And honestly, when my son turned 16, he started to trade for us, and he's done extremely well with some of our investments.
Okay.
So yeah,
Yeah.
so that's been kind of nice to have some of that support. And I've been very blessed that I have a partner like my husband that takes care of that, so I don't have to. So then I can focus on other things, right?
Right,
So yeah,
right.
and it's
Yeah.
that um trust and also delegation.
Yeah.
My future hopefully daughter-in-law, she said, I gave my taxes to Logan and he used the B word and I'm like, what was that? She goes, budget.
Oh,
I'm like, he's his father's son there.
right, 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 right. Um, yeah, s- as we're wrapping up our interview, what kind of
Mhm.
exciting plans do you have in the works in the next 6 to 12 months?
Well, I actually am looking at, I just finished a few certifications, so I'm actually looking at doing another certification that's going to be another kind of 2 year kind of plan.
Okay.
And then also I want to expand a little bit more with some of my classes. So I do like a tummy time class, which is an educational one for moms. I
Hmm.
do also with a doula, we do some other classes on pregnancy and preparing for birth, and supporting birth. I am working on another class with preparing for kindergarten and preschool, so I can educate parents there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, and maybe moving to doing some online courses as well, so I can just have those up on our platform. So that's
Right.
kind of what I'm kind of looking at the next 6 to 12 months. I also, as I kind of said, I'm the more you know, the more you don't know. So I was invited
Hmm.
to a couple of kind of um, invite only conferences with kind of other pediatric and prenatal chiropractors and
Okay.
some neuroscientists and stuff like that. So there's some really cool things, and there's kind of a buzz talking about being part of a practice-based review on cervical adjusting and how it affects the brain and the prefrontal cortex. So hopefully some of that stuff will come to fruition. I'm kind of excited to be part of that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like you're going to be pretty busy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I like to be busy. Yeah.
Dr. Johnson, that wraps it up for today. Thank you so
Right.
much for your, sharing your time and your insights and tips. It was a real pleasure to have you on the show today. And Dr. Johnson, if what's the best way for people to connect with you?
On either Facebook through our clinic, Family First Chiropractic and Wellness, or on
Okay.
Instagram, it's Dr. Joelle Johnson on Instagram. Those are kind of the best ways to kind of get hold of me. If anyone has questions, or even if someone's looking, there might be another chiro out there that's looking to chat and have a bit of mentorship. I would love to be able to do that and share some of my love of our profession with others. So, yeah,
Right on. Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Take
Thanks for
care.
having me. I appreciate it.
Want to share your success story? Apply to be a guest at truenorthsuccessshow.com/guest. We'd love to hear from you.